believe could be live now. Hopefully.
You shall see momentarily, sir. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we are live finally. Hopefully, this thing doesn't crash on us.
No, we got it. We got it,
Always
baby.
something that has to go wrong. But I wouldn't be streaming if something didn't go wrong. Am I right?
It just something will go wrong. It just matters how you handle it, sir.
Yep.
And you've been successful thus far, so.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on such late notice because I know we were planning things before, but had to push it back. But yeah, usually
thank you for having me.
Usually I don't do this on a Sunday. Usually I prefer to do it on a Saturday because I don't want to compete with Iron Lords, But
the weekend, look, I stream on Thursday. It's because Friday, Saturday, Sunday is booked.
Practically.
There is no way. The little peeps is gonna get the type of traction that they deserve with how stacked the lineup is for the weekend. So I tend to default to the weekday. It is what it is. But either way, we make it work.
I used to have a show on the weekday, but it didn't really work out because I had it on a Monday. So
yeah. I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's just that, it's just tough out here. It's tough out here, but we keep on grinding nonetheless.
Practically. All right. So what I like to do with the show is I like to give a spotlight on other creators. I like to get their gaming stories and their content stories. So for you, I'm not gonna make any exception. I'm just gonna go straight into the questions. And with that, I'd like to know what your first console was that you played on.
So, does this count as overall platform or just specifically the console? Because technically the first platform I've ever had wasn't a console.
Really?
It was not, sir. It was my first gaming platform I ever owned was the Game Boy Color.
Oh, really? So you started on the Game Boy, huh?
Yes, I wanted one so bad because one of my best friends in school had one, my cousin had one, and I was here like, Mom, Dad, why do we live like Amish people? Can I please have this Game Boy Color that everyone around me got? And then come Christmas time, I was graced by Santa Claus with a Game Boy Color, and the first game I ever got was Miss Pac-Man, which to me I think is the great way for a female to start off their gaming journey, man. So
now you see, I actually can relate to that because one of the platforms I always wanted to have when I was a kid was a DS, but I never had one, so I actually went with the PSP. So the PSP wasn't that bad.
PSP was a great option.
Yeah, but there was a lot of great games for the Game Boy. Not gonna lie, I'm actually starting to collect some stuff for the Game Boy, so if you have any good recommendations, let me know.
Technically, Dragon Warrior 3, aka Dragon Quest 3. Back then, it was called Dragon Warrior in America for whatever reason.
It was called Dragon Warrior, really?
Yep. If you go gaming that far back, you realize that Dragon Quest was called Dragon Warrior back in the day. Don't know why, but either way, I had that on the Game Boy Color back when I barely knew how to read. And so that's actually one of my most anticipated remakes because now I'm an adult and can experience that game as an adult and where I can actually, I think I can read pretty well now. I'm relatively confident that I can read pretty well. So that's one of my most anticipated remakes, but Square Enix, man, they announced it 3 years ago. We ain't heard nothing since, so I'm hoping for the best for it, but that's definitely a highly, highly recommended. I mean, obviously the Pokemon games, even though they're insanely expensive, but I had Pokemon Yellow.
Tell me about it.
Oh yeah, what made me want a Game Boy Color so much was, well, technically, I guess, watching my friend play Pokemon. And I was just like, oh my god, what is that? What is that? What is that? Oh man, and I was watching the anime and stuff. It was good. It was a great time to grow up during that time. and just see, like, I was watching like the late stages of like a 2D gaming and then the very beginning of 3D gaming. So like I didn't understand it back in the day. I didn't recognize it as this being a pivotal moment in entertainment, because I was like 5, 6 years old. I didn't know anything, you know. But looking back at it now, having lived that, seeing that transition is one of the most important moments in entertainment history, and watching it go down. All the mistakes that were made along the way to
True.
what we have now, it's pretty awesome.
So I guess that kind of actually leads me to my next question: your favorite console generation? Because I know we all have those consoles we started with, but we also have like our favorites. For me, my favorite is the PS2 generation, hands down.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I had that was when, you know, they really started to understand 3D gaming and how it was meant to be played and how it feels natural. Because PS1 and 64 was a lot of trial and error back then. So PS2 was when they really kind of just had it. And for me, what kind of for me as a kid, what really just made a console my main driver was really specifically Dragon Ball games.
Really,
Just the
Dragon?
fact that
Oh,
yeah, I loved Dragon Ball Z growing up, and PS2 had all the Dragon Ball Z games, so I was that was my main driver. Like I would play Dragon Ball Z, Budokai 1, 2, 3, Tenkaichi, all bruh. That was my
the Budokai games
definitely
were
always my
definitely the
go-to.
goats of the Dragon Ball games. There were
Oh yeah.
there were definitely a few before that, but those games were definitely like peak Dragon Ball games. Even to this day, I think
Yeah.
that fans still love those games more than anything.
Yeah. It's definitely like Budokai 3 is still one of my all-time favorites on that platform. Red Dead Revolver was a banger. A lot of people don't remember Red Dead Revolver. They just think of Redemption, but the first game was Revolver and it was a banger. True Crime Streets of LA, obviously the GTA games, uh, Scarface, The World Is Yours, pretty much starting. The game started at the end of the film, which was such a sick spin on things. The SOCOM games. I mean, there there's just too many to list, and there's still games that I'm collecting to try, like, because there's just too many games that you missed out, unless you know you were the super rich kid that got everything. You missed out on some bangers, so I still collect PS2 games to try them out. Another great set of games is the X-Men Legends games.
Hmm.
Those were sick, man. I loved them.
I never actually got the chance to play those, but I heard they were good. But the games I
They
kind of grew up with,
still
the games
they
I kind of
still
grew up with,
hold up.
really. So,
They do.
hmm.
Better than even like
So,
Spider-Man 2,
and
for example.
oh no, yeah, that game has dated pretty bad graphically. I don't know how it holds up
Well,
gameplay wise though.
to me, like, obviously, you know, you're looking back at older games, so you have to for me, graphics don't mean nothing, it's just, how do controls feel? And to me, X-Men Legends, you know, the game looks dated, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's a dated game, but the controls still hold up really well.
Oh, that's good to know. Uh, you see, for me, I kind of really judge you based on graphics sometimes.
Mhm.
So if it's not really a unique art style, I don't really know how to feel about that because like the games I kind of played were Ratchet and Clank, Simpsons Hit and Run, um,
Nice.
and most recently I started emulating some PS2 games. I emulated Midnight Club a lot, not LA, but I
Ooh,
think it was Midnight
yes.
Club 3, Dub Edition.
I had that on PSP. Oh, it was my first PSP game. It was so addictive.
Yeah, so obviously those games are more stylistic and graphics, so those kind of hold up still even to this day. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that's facts. The other PS2 games that I love was um Rocky. The Rocky game, I was addicted to that. Went through the first 5 films. And it was really fun. They did if you're like a fan of the Rocky film franchise, they respected the franchise very in depth. So that and another franchise that was a huge addiction to me as a kid was the Tony Hawk franchise. So playing Underground, American Wasteland, those were bangers. I was big into skateboarding back in the day, and I also love the boxing games. So you know, Fight Night was fun on there.
I was gonna ask
Like
because
sports
Rocky
games.
being boxing related, how'd you did you ever play that? Because I know that Fight Night was probably like one of the best boxing games that EA had made.
Oh yeah, round 2, round 3, they were bangers. I bought Fight Night round 3 twice because I had it. Technically, I played that on OG Xbox, but recently I picked up a PS2 copy and was playing, messing around with that. But I had it on OG Xbox, and then I seen the 360 version of that. I'm just like, yo, this looks insanely better, insanely better. So I have 3 copies of that game. I don't care.
Jeez.
It's a banger, man. Yeah, when I love something, I don't care how many. I'll buy it 100 times. I don't care.
No, I feel you there. I've definitely done that myself. So no judgment here. So
Hell yeah. The Matrix games were fire.
ooh, I have yet to touch that.
Tag. Yeah, they're worth collecting for sure. I
Like-
will say, the Path of Neo frame rate's a little wonky, but it's still such an awesome, awesome video game that a lot of people that were fans of the Matrix really wanted. So it's cool that they actually made that
I
come
guess
to fruition.
I guess while we're on this topic, I guess I should actually go into the question of what was your favorite game that you've played like of all time? You can only name one. It can't be a series.
Yeah, it's always a tough call. Like I definitely, it's something that I constantly bicker internally with, but I guess the one that I always have to go to at the end of the day is Elder Scrolls Oblivion because I played that game for 3 years straight consistently. I had like 10 plus builds. The game was just so addictive. I never quite got into a game like that before, to that caliber, to that level of freedom. So it was definitely a bit of like a shock because I picked it up on a blind buy for my birthday.
Really?
So
So it was just a
Oh, yeah.
surprise to you. Huh.
It was. It just looked back then. I mean, I didn't really have internet, so I would just straight up just look at the cover, look at the back, and see. Oh, this sounds kind of interesting. Let's bring it home. And it's like it's crazy because I would, obviously occasionally come home with some stinkers, but I felt like back then I just was more successful with a blind buy, just looking at the cover and the back of the case, than doing all sorts of Inspector Gadget research nowadays on the internet and looking at under every nook and cranny for a video game, and just to end up being like, oh, this might be cool, giving it a shot, and ending up disappointed. It's kind of crazy how things have changed, but Elder Scrolls Oblivion, from the very beginning of the game, how it starts off and how things go down, it sets the tone of the story, and just all that level of freedom, the exploration.
You see, I always
That
hear that
was-
from fans of that game, but for someone who's never really been able to get into that game, you see, I kind of have a hard time with it because I think the open world nature just never did it for me because it was like, okay, where do I go from here? So I just kind of got lost and kind of got bored with it eventually. Because for me, I kind of need something constantly happening, like how
No, I get that.
yeah, kind of like how. I think that's why I kind of gravitated more towards story-based games, like with Uncharted, because it always has like those really good action sequences. So you always felt like something adrenaline rushing was happening during any moment,
Yeah, no, I feel you. The one good thing about at least Elder Scrolls Oblivion is that you can just follow the main quest line, and they make it very easy to do so. The way that you can track the quests, so that's the one positive. But I totally understand just like a sort of a more linear experience that gets to the point. I think a lot. Honestly, I wish that more games that come out now did follow that, because I mean, to me, there's just a lot of games that just have these giant open worlds, and there's just it feels substanceless. So
Ubisoft.
yeah, so it's kind of just I just wish overall they would concentrate on having a more condensed experience that really just respects the player's time. I'm 30 this year. I'm starting to feel like, dang, these games are just wasting my time. You have more responsibilities now. Things is different. Like, every 10 years you have a different perspective on life, or at least that's It's how I feel about things, and I just want games to and video game creators to respect me as the player, but most importantly, respect my time.
You know what? I can respect that. Also, real quick, I just want to shout out Will. I see you in the chat, my boy. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey,
And linear games do that. Yeah, they respect our time. You see, the reason I throw Ubisoft under the bus like that is because I actually tried to complete Assassin's Creed games back in the day before they got way too grindy when Odyssey came out. So I refuse to touch Assassin's Creed now, or any Ubisoft games, to be honest, because they just throw anything on the map. Just like, hey, go take 100 pictures of this, or go collect these collectibles. Make sure you collect like 500 of them or whatever. It's just so grindy. It's like what does this even like? This is just so pointless. It doesn't add anything.
when I realized, when Batman Arkham City came out, Catwoman was like, she was it. Like the fact that they brought Catwoman and she was playable and all that, like it was so cool to me. Then when Arkham Knight came along and I realized all the stuff that you had to do in order to get Catwoman out of prison, I immediately dropped that game. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. The best part for me with Arkham City is now locked behind like 500 Riddler trophies and some other nonsense. I was like, no, I'm good.
Wait, she was locked behind the Riddler trophies?
Yes.
I did not know that. You see, I actually had played it. I never actually got the chance to finish it. I kind of dropped it after a while, but I was trying to collect the Riddler trophies, but there were just so many of them. I kind of just gave up.
My homegirl just man, they did my homegirl dirty, bro. It was like to the level of how dirty they did Mystique in X-Men 3. Mystique was arguably one of the best characters in X-Men 2. Just for them to do what they did to her in X-Men 3, I was like, you guys are sick, man.
Yeah. Okay. I guess with that question out of the way, I usually ask this question first, but I guess I'll just throw this in here now. But what was the first game you've played? Like, first game you ever played? Like, on your first platform?
Oh, that was Miss Pac-Man.
Oh, so Miss
Pac-Man on the Game Boy Color. Yep, first video game I got it for Christmas. I got the Game Boy Color for Christmas, and I got Miss Pac-Man.
Oh, I think we might have just spoiled something for Will in the chat. You just
but you just started Arkham. Oh
yep.
Snap! Well, hey man, I hope Catwoman isn't your favorite character. That's all I'm saying, dog. But nonetheless, enjoy your time. It's still a very technically well-made game. So do your thing.
Continue. So Miss Pac-Man was your first. That's
yep. It like I said, it's an awesome way for a female to start their gaming journey.
You see, I don't think I've ever really thought about that, to be honest, because I'm not a girl, so I don't really think like that. So I don't really see the big impact of like having a female character like that. But I guess for me,
if I'm not mistaken, she's the first female video game character.
I think besides Peach, because Peach was technically the first, but she was more the damsel in distress with Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Yes, I guess female main character, main protagonist. Technically, she's up there. She's definitely in the top 3.
Well, considering all she does is just try to defeat the ghost, I guess. Or I don't even know what the point of the Pac-Man is, to be honest. I just kind of played it, but I guess you kind of just defeat the ghost, right?
You eat. When you break it down to the very basic fundamental level, you just eat everything. That's the point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Classic, man. Fundamentals. Bandai Namco.
Well, I guess moving on from that question, since that usually doesn't really take that long to answer, I guess I wanted to ask, what you have any special moments that you like have from gaming, like not even just from playing video games, or like any moments within a video game? Like it could also be like times with like friends, or like staying up late, or at a store to buy a video game. Anything. Do you have any special moments?
So early PS4 generation was pretty crazy to me because I met a lot of people that I ended up being friends with for a decade now, practically. And a gaming moment that I can never forget was meeting one of my best friends playing Killzone Shadowfall.
Killzone.
Yep, we were playing Killzone Shadowfall, playing multiplayer, and I just hear this dude in the chat just asking people random questions, and this dude straight up is just like, "Hey, did you ever take a shit in a wishing well?" this is how my boy started a conversation, and this dude ended up being like one of my best friends for almost a decade, man. And from meeting him, I ended up, we ended up coming across a bunch of different people, and now I have like my buddies that I've been gaming with for a long time, and obviously been on my podcasts, and Oz and TJ are two of those individuals, and that's definitely that experience, specifically early PS4 generation, was one that was super socially driven. And because of that, because of how socially driven last gen was, ended up meeting a lot of great friends that, I intend to be friends with for a really, really long time. And we stuck together. We shared so many great experiences with, so many funny moments, so much great entertainment. So
You see, that's interesting that you said that the PS4 is you thought that it was the most sociable, because I kind of thought the PS3 and 360 generation was the most sociable, because games back then like Call of Duty had like in-game chats instead of having party chats on the consoles. So like
that's when it began. That's when it began, and it started there, and it grew so much. And PS4, like early PS4, early Xbox One, shared that same sort of sentiment. Now I just feel like it's kind of regressed in terms of the social elements of, at least that the consoles themselves promote.
Practically, because like I think when they introduced like just like the regular console party chats, it kind of closed off the barrier of having to be in game. So for me, I never had as much fun being in like a part in like an in-game chat anymore, because like back then, like when you met random people, it was funny. And especially like especially for me playing Call of Duty, you got to see people's artworks and what they made on that game, and just, it was so funny.
Oh yeah,
they were so funny back in the day. Oh,
yep. It was really just the wild west, and it was fun times, especially 360. I was 14 years old and in Call of Duty 4 lobbies.
Oh no.
And yes, 14-year-old female fight for my life, but guess what? They was throwing punches, I was throwing punches back. I did not back down, bro. That made me grow thick skin and realize how to handle all sorts of nonsense from the thick and the thin, man. Like, that has strengthened my personality to deal with a lot of the stuff that, honestly, that is a big proprietor as to why I could do YouTube and just look at some insane things that people say to me and just be like, whatever.
Facts. Yeah, those gaming chat rooms, they definitely forced us through fire.
Exactly. It's good to be able to deal with, certain things that you're going to come across in life, not to just be protected from it all, because life
will throw you a curveball whenever. So
yeah, you got to be prepared for all sorts of stuff that you didn't think you were going to come across. It's a part of growing thick skin. It's a part of being able to deal with things, and the more versatile you are and being able to deal with insanity, the better it is for you as a person, man. Do not prepare for an easy life. Prepare yourself to deal with a difficult one, and hopefully you won't get hit at, as hard as you possibly can, but be prepared for anything.
All right, I guess with that out of the way, I got one hard question to throw at you, because I know this question throws a lot of my guests off, because it's always easy to answer what your favorite game is, but it's never easy to answer what game your most hated game is. So, what game would that be for you?
Least favorite game of all time. Dang. Honestly, I guess I'd have to, and this is on the spot sort of deal, thinking about it. So who knows? This could change if I thought about it more. But I'd have to say The Order 1886.
Really?
And I was so excited for that game. I love, and the thing is, there's some great things about it. That's what makes it hurt even more.
That's why I'm kind of
I
surprised
think
you
that
said that, because from what I hear, is like even though the game was bad, yeah, but it had a lot of potential.
that's what makes it. That's what makes me angry about it. It had great potential, and they just squandered it. I think that the setting was great. I think that the characters are great. I loved the likings that they had in there. Like it had some awesome lore just for them to make a game that is so on rails, so boring, barely any gameplay, no multiplayer. You had an insane concept and you just pissed it away. That's what hurts. That's what hurts me about it the most. It had such great potential. It had so many great things about it, but overall, gameplay super lacking. It just felt they just wanted the player to have their experience so bad that it just left no opportunity for me to make my own experience out of it. There was just there's no leeway to it. So on rails. Just disappointing.
You see, I can definitely understand that, because I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. So when Mass Effect Andromeda came out, when they were doing all the trailers for it, I kind of fell into the hype. Like, damn, I can't wait for this game. I pre-ordered it, and lo and behold, came out disappointed in it. The graphics were shitty. The story was shitty. Almost everything was shitty about it, besides the gameplay.
The co-op, like that was the one thing. So I did not play Mass Effect. I had the first one, but I didn't understand it back then. I don't know what it was. I didn't really play it that much. I was like, man, like Andromeda looked pretty aight, and it's like a good way for someone that hasn't played the trilogy to jump in. Like that was a good concept. I bought that game day one too. I pre-ordered it. It unfortunately it's just yikes. It was a big yikes.
Yep, especially the multiplayer coming after 3, where 3 was actually pretty fun. The multiplayer in that game was fucking shit.
That was the only thing I kind of had fun with. It
You
was
had
like
fun
a
with that?
co-op. Yeah, but then again, you have to understand, I never played the previous ones. So I ditched the main story and managed to run some co-op with some homies and managed to find some fun in that.
Okay, I think I need to find the gaming police and arrest your ass.
Well, you have to
never know. There's
understand,
no
I
way.
just don't have the context
No,
of the
yeah.
previous games.
No, yeah, that's why you. There's no way you should have been allowed to skip those 3. That is absolutely criminal.
I do want to go and actually play those games. It's just to find that time right now. It's just been a bit
Oh,
difficult. But
now
it's still
now
on my radar.
now is a good time as any, because they have the Mass Effect collection now. So
Hmm. Definitely, it's just that there's so many games that I do want to play right now.
yeah, especially this year alone, it's been a
Yeah,
pretty packed year.
yeah, you ain't lying.
I guess with that, I usually like to ask this question at the end of all my gaming related questions, because I always watch YouTube, so I always come across like these videos that call out the gaming industry, saying that like gaming is in a worse place than it's ever been. But I also like
Hmm.
seen some people like argue against that, who just mostly play indies, saying like gaming's in a good place because of indies. So I kind of like to know where my guests stand on gaming currently. Do you feel like it's in a good place or it's in a bad place?
So I feel like it is in a bad place, but unlike the music industry or the film industry, you could still find some bangers out here. Like it's not hard. Like it's not as hard, in my personal opinion, as opposed to other entertainment mediums. Thankfully, I could still find games to play, but just from the consumer perspective, from the gamer's perspective, I just feel like the gaming industry is setting itself up in a way that it can still benefit despite all the bad practices it chooses to indulge in. Like with the way gaming is set up now, a lot of these big corporations, EA has said this openly themselves, they're perfectly fine with selling less games and they still somehow make more money. To me that's never a good way to go about it, sadly. And they don't aim to make the best game anymore. It's just, well, how can we monetize this and make more money than when we used to make the best games? That's a concern I have, and just with physical media going away, it's forced me to have to play my hand accordingly, and to prepare for a situation in which the consumer is giving up its own rights. That's sad to me, but I'm come to terms with that for what it is.
Well,
A lot of people just, they're okay with giving up physical media. They're okay with just being able to buy from one store. They don't I don't think that people are seeing, how things are once you can't buy physical copies of games, and then you're forced to buy on just your Xbox store, your PlayStation store, or your Nintendo store. Good luck with that. I ain't gonna put myself in that situation. But
I definitely agree with that. As a physical game collector myself, I can definitely understand that sentiment. I do not want to go fully digital, knowing how this industry likes to abandon games. But real quick, hello Black Cobra, see you in the chat. Thank you for stopping by and
What's up,
supporting
bro?
the stream. And also, Will brought up an interesting point of how this year again was stacked with great games. So because of that, he thinks it's in a positive place. So do you not have any like hope at all, like where the direction?
Oh no, I'm definitely hopeful. AAA gaming, I think, is fucking terrible personally, but
Okay.
to each their own. Like, bro, I thought for certain Final Fantasy 16 was gonna be a banger.
Oh, you're
The problem
disappointed by it?
Heavily disappointed. They
Oh.
showed all the stuff that they showed was awesome. Like, everything leading up to a boss fight was great. They did not show what goes on after a boss fight, which is a lot of how do I explain this? A lot of MMO side questing as main quest stuff. That's pretty much what they didn't show, which to me is absolutely disgusting to have to play in Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, considering the director being Yoshi P coming off of the MMO, I don't think it's kind of that kind of a shocker to now see that or how the force now.
Well, I mean, you have to look at them based upon what they showed, and they definitely didn't show none of that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For good reason, because they definitely knew how that would come off. and the fact that Final Fantasy 16 is not an RPG, even though they claim it's an RPG, there's no role to be played. You just play as the main character. So it's a lot of false advertising with that.
Yeah, definitely understand, but I don't know. I guess I just look at it like, hey, this guy mostly has a history in MMOs, so put one and one together. You
probably should have stuck to making MMOs. You should be making, the next Final Fantasy MMO instead of making a JRPG game that isn't an RPG. Because, yeah.
Oh, well, coming in the chat saying Final Fantasy never had good side quests. I don't know. I mean, I played what was it? No, not Versus 13. What was it? What's the spin-off of 7 that was on the PSP? Crisis Core? Yeah, it was Crisis Core. I think that one has some pretty good side quests, to be honest.
But here's the thing: they have the main quest line that feels like crappy side questing. Like that's what it feels like. That's the shame of it. But I mean, in regards to other AAA games, I mean, how many AAA games have come out this year that barely even are playable?
Ooh, I think I lost count. I think I lost count after Golem.
Yeah, I mean, well, that isn't a AAA game. At best, it's AA, and yeah, that was disgusting too, no doubt. But how many AAA games came out running like absolute crap? Unacceptable, man. Absolutely unacceptable. Now, if you're just a strictly AAA gamer,
it's pretty rough.
Yeah, for me, I love indies. I love AA. My game of the year, personally, I don't know if that's like a question or a topic for to talk about here, but
I didn't throw that in here because I don't really cover that. It's just mostly, it's mostly personal questions.
Yeah, for me, my personal game of the year is RoboCop Rogue City. That game is amazing. It's a AA game that um, the developers clearly didn't have an insane amount of funds, but they allocated those funds so adequately and made such a fun experience from a gameplay perspective that respected its source material to its core. And still and even managed to do some unique things. So it wasn't all just, oh well, it's just them referencing everything from RoboCop. No, they did some different things that make sense with the lore because of how confident they felt knowing the lore of RoboCop. So that's awesome. And the awesome gameplay, the destructibility, just making you feel like a complete badass, bro. Like that is a AA game that really flexes his muscles and puts a lot of AAA gaming to shame, in my personal opinion.
Not gonna lie, I actually kind of thought that was a AAA game just because of the graphics alone. It actually looks really fucking good.
Yeah, Unreal 5, I'm interested to see how Unreal 5 is once it's been in the hands of devs for, a few more years. See what kind of amazing experiences we end up getting out of it.
Definitely. Oh, it's nice to get that game of the year question. Maybe I should have thrown that in there.
Maybe, especially towards the end of the year, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about that. Also, hello Delta, I see you there in the chat right now.
Woo, what up, bro?
Well, I guess that goes over all my gaming related questions. So I guess now we can go into the content related questions. So I took a look at your channel. I kind of dug through seeing how many videos you posted and how long ago how long it's been for you on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you start? How did you get into YouTube specifically? How did you start making content? What inspired you?
So, I mean, it's a little bit of a sad story, but obviously, everything's cool now. And, I've come to terms with it. But basically, 2 years ago, my grandfather passed away, and me and my family had been caring for him up until, the very end. So it was a lot of responsibility. And now I just had this empty spot. And it's wow, I have a lot less to do, and I'm kind of just, sad. So a lot of people for a long time have been like, man, you have some interesting takes and perspectives that a lot of people don't really have. You should, maybe consider doing YouTube videos. And for a long time, I never took that idea seriously. Never really had the time for it, and just never thought that I could do it. But I kind of was just like, yeah, I have a lot of more free time that I had previously, and well, I kind of just need something to do, something to put my mind on and to work towards. So I was like, yeah, I guess I'll start making YouTube videos for the hell of it, just for fun. And that's how it started. And I was talking about film, I was talking about video games, my issues with the gaming industry, things that I thought were cool. And yeah, it's come a long way in 2 years. It's crazy to think that it's been 2 years, but it has.
Technically coming up on 3 years once 2024 comes around.
Yeah, September. I remember distinctly starting in September, so it's crazy to think.
So it's kind of interesting getting people's personal background stories of how they started, because for everyone it's different, different inspirations. Because for me, since I'm younger and kind of always been around YouTube, of course I've always seen people play and post stuff on YouTube. So for that's kind of what inspired me, is to copy that of other gaming YouTubers. So
Nice.
I guess when you are trying to find something to get you out of a depression phase, finding something that'll keep you happy and doing something for fun will always help. So
Yep, keep him busy.
Yep. I guess with that, how has doing YouTube been for you? Just doing this for straight up 2 years, uploading content nonstop and doing the live streams.
It's been insane. It's been a crazy roller coaster ride. It's one of those things where it's when I do commit to something, I do it. And to get me to commit to something is hard. But when I'm committed to doing something, it's and I do take it seriously. But it's been wild, like finding my what works for me, my place, just kind of figuring things out on my own. It is crazy. It's been interesting to say the least, but I've kind of feel like at this point I've grown into my own what what works for me, what I like doing, and just really just been running with it, man. That's what it's been. Just being on a sprint and just having fun with it. If it wasn't fun, then I wouldn't do it. But it's been pretty fun. It's been pretty crazy. I met some awesome people along the way, and that's really what is driving it. Like just meeting cool people, hanging out, having the discussions that I want to have, and even learning new things, just getting different people's perspectives. I mean, that's really what I enjoy about gaming.
Real quick, I see RC Scott in the chat. Was that bringing that hype energy in
So,
here?
woo! Hell yeah. What's
Yeah.
good, bro?
Going back to that, so I definitely understand what you mean by it being a sprint. There's definitely like those moments like where like I'm on that high train, like having like where you're getting tons of views, tons of subscribers, and then like then you hit like those moments like where it just like all slows down. You can't where you know it just feels like you're not
Can't
really
take
growing
no
at
for an
all.
answer. If something happens, it discourages you. You just gotta say, all right, what's the next thing? What am I running at now? Like you can't just be like, oh man, damn. Like if you can't sit and wallow. It's just, bro,
Yeah,
like it, like you're gonna have moments where it's like, oh man, that's awesome. Like I got, you know, I got more than I thought I was gonna get out of doing this, and then moments where, wow, I thought this was gonna pop off and it didn't. But either way, you just gotta keep like thinking like, what? All right, what can I do next? Like YouTube is just trial and error. Like that's just the reality of it. And you just think of ideas and just throw them out there, and some are gonna fail, and then some are gonna succeed. But you gotta just keep throwing pitches. Like that's just how
practically.
it goes.
Yep. Also, I see God, there's saying turn off your mic. Damn the disrespect though.
RC is a little troll. Yes, I'm calling him a troll.
He's a funny troll. I'll give him that. But
He probably has his tidy whities inside out. So.
ooh, but yeah. So,
RC's the homie. He's a good dude.
have you had any moments like where you felt like you like some of the content you were doing wasn't really doing like growing or like doing what you thought like did it ever make you feel like maybe I should take a break from doing this or anything like that?
I mean, honestly, just talking about like other entertainment other than gaming, just bro, like to me, when it comes to film now, when it comes to television, it's like it's terrible now. It's just there's nothing good to watch for me anymore. Like, dude, like I just watched The Killer with my best friend yesterday. And it's like, oh man, it's a David Fincher film. He's the guy that did Seven. He's a great director in his own right. Oh, it's Michael Fassbender. He's one of my my all time favorite actors that really still is great at his craft. That is a truly talented dude. Yeah, that movie was mid. So it's like, what the heck is there to talk about with entertainment? It's like, I'm good. Like, I just stuck to gaming because, like, there's just nothing interesting for me to talk about outside of that. I mean, we can sit here and, I don't know, just watching people bitch and whine about Star Wars how many years later after,
Oh god.
after that one film that really just nuked that franchise. Only so much people can whine about it. It's like at this point, it's just yeah, I'm good on pretty much film and television at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I saw for your channel you kind of had like a few pivots like from like you weren't just doing gaming at the beginning, so I
Mhm.
could definitely understand like when something is boring you don't really want to continue talking about it.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, some of my favorite videos, like, one of my favorite videos was my Halloween retrospective. I still love that video. I recorded it using, like, a tin can. I don't know if I was using, like, a little tin can mic or still using my phone microphone,
Wait, you
but
use the
I
phone?
still Hmm?
Damn, how did you manage
I
that?
s um, duct tape and Gorilla Glue, sir.
Hmm.
Duct tape and Gorilla Glue. That's how I started, on a cell phone, nothing else. Everything from recording the video to editing the video on a cell phone. So,
Yeesh.
if you think that you don't have the means, it doesn't matter.
You make the means.
Exactly, you make it work, bro. That's just what it is, but one of my favorite videos is still my Halloween 1978 retrospective. Man, I love that video.
Hmm. Well, what was that video about? If you don't mind me asking.
In my in-depth analysis of the original Halloween film.
Ooh, okay. Hmm.
One of my favorite films of all time, so to say I did a Halloween retrospective, it's just my thoughts and what I love about it.
You see, I
It's
actually just
cool.
recently watched Halloween and the most recent sequel to it with that chick that reprised her role.
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I actually pretty much enjoyed those movies fully throughout.
Okay, that's what's up. To me, there's like I liked the 2018 one. It has its ups and downs, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Then
Although,
progressively,
to
for
be
me, I just started thinking, "Ugh, these are kind of just getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse."
although not gonna lie though, the original though, you can definitely tell there's a little bit of cheese from when it was made. So I think a lot of movies back then kind of like feel dated from that. So you can definitely tell like
For me,
it's by
I don't mind that personally.
yeah.
I enjoy films that indulge in suspense. A lot of people just don't like nowadays. They just don't have the temperament to watch a film build. It's like I get it. I mean, we got the TikTok mindset now, I guess. But I love a film that indulges in building suspense.
Yeah, same here. Uh, I guess moving on from that question, I actually kind of wanted to talk about your content for a little bit because I've noticed that there's like a little bit of a difference between like the videos you do and your live streams. Your live streams kind of seem to be more oriented towards gaming news, where your videos kind of seem more of like getting your feelings out about like how like what certain gaming companies are doing. So
Mhm.
so
Um,
do you focus more on trying to like hold like gaming companies like whenever they do something like censorship or like they're trying to push like agendas or whatever? Do you is that what your content is mostly aimed for on the video side of things?
I don't honestly like that's an important thing to hold companies accountable for. So I don't like for me, I'm kind of just for me, I never plan like my week. For me, it's just what happened. If something happened that I actually feel passionate to talk about in some way, if it's be positively or negatively, I talk about it. So it's like I don't really have like a format. If I do something new, I just do it just because I was inspired to do it. I don't like I'm willing to just change what I just feel like going with. So it's kind of like hard for me to say like this is my format because it could change and some people may not like that change, but like I just go with what I feel. For me, my channel is kind of just like my diary, my personal diary.
Hmm.
Some people may not like that. Some people may like one thing that I do and then not like something else, and I get that. But for me, my YouTube channel is my hobby first and foremost before anything else, and I have to talk about the things that I'm driven to talk about, and it does change. I can't really say like I can't give a real answer to that because I don't see it as this is my format and that's what I'm sticking to because that format could change and I don't have like an outline of how I do my videos specifically or what I'm doing with my videos specifically and then the live streams. If it just comes off like that, it's like, okay, but yeah, I never thought of it that way. And the fact that you brought it up, it's kind of like, oh, really? What?
Well, I guess like
I can understand.
coming from someone like who, like, you know, I'm brand new to you, to your channel and what you do, you know. So like,
Yep.
so like it's always like kind of like those first impressions, like from like the thumbnails and like the titles alone, you know.
Of course, yeah. No, I get that for sure.
So from that perspective,
But
it kind of seems like you focus like on like kind of like getting your thoughts out about like certain topics, you know.
yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's my diary. Like if I have something I really want to talk about, that is like, you know, something that I have personal issue with, that's what I do talk about for sure. Like it falls into a lot of different things.
Yeah,
But
I guess the reason I want to focus on that is because like everyone's kind of different in terms of how they run their channels. More people are more
Mhm.
organized with the type of videos they do, and they focus on just doing that one specific type. Whereas like
Mhm.
there are other channels who try to do more variety style videos, I guess what you would call it, or they just kind of
Yep.
do whatever they want to do. But I guess I guess it's kind of interesting now knowing because like I kind of thought like, hey, it looks like you're kind of focused on one type of content and that's what like you do. So, I guess I was wrong on that end.
Like it's so weird because I see how other people do their channel, and it's like I totally get that. And me, it's kind of like I don't know, like I never want to pigeonhole myself. Like even like now, I guess pigeonholed myself with talking about gaming specifically. But even when I created the channel, I specifically chose a name that wouldn't be directly meant to be a gaming channel. Like my podcast name does not have the implementation of this is a gaming, uh, only gaming centric podcast. Like that's I know, like everything that I did with in regards to starting up my channel was to never be in a situation where I do pigeonhole myself. So at any point, like I just do whatever I just feel like going with.
You see, I actually respect that big time because when I started my channel, I kind of didn't want to just do gaming. That's why I don't really have gaming in the channel name because
Hmm.
I kind of tend to pivot towards what I like to do. So, and that way, I guess we're kind of the same.
Exactly.
I can,
Exactly. Like you have to be driven to do this.
yeah,
If you're just doing it and you have no drive, you have no passion, you're just throwing stuff out there, people can tell. People can tell that you don't care. You're just shitting this out because for whatever benefit other than it's what you want to do.
yeah,
And so I
and
have to do what I'm driven to do.
yeah, definitely, or else it starts feeling like a job, and then at that point, no one wants to do it.
Exactly.
So, I guess now we can just move away from that because I want to talk about your podcast now since you just
Cool.
brought it up. So, what inspired you to start your start to real or feels? Is that what it's called, right?
Yes, sir. Too Real for Feels podcast, which, like I said, specifically not a gaming name, but like for me, I always thought of like making a podcast that where my buddies and I was talking about how I came across a few of them. Like me and my buddies just talk about all sort like how we used to talk in our PlayStation party chats where we talk about gaming, we talk about movies, we talk about all this stuff that we were into. And I was like having those types of conversations that we have, but bringing it to the podcast. Just like the homies just chopping it up on what's going on and obviously having a guest on and kind of just having fun with it.
Hmm.
That was the original intent of the Two River Fields podcast, and I think we do a decent job at it. Like it's cool talking it up with Oz and TJ. They definitely have their own unique take on things, and it ends up being very entertaining and having different guests on or some of my other homies uh, that I game with. Like it's always fun to talk about gaming from like just hanging out with the homies type of perspective, and that's what I wanted it to be like. And obviously having guests on is really fun. We had you on. It was a good time for sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely got that vibe. Like it was just like a chill. It was just chill conversation back and forth, and like some of the banter was really funny. especially
Hell
when online.
yeah, that's what it is, man.
Uh,
That's what it is, and that's what I love. Like the type of like vibe I want to give is like what I like to watch when it comes to watching YouTube videos or just watching, entertainment. That's what I want to make is the kind of content that I would like to see when I'm the viewer.
you know what? I think in that regard you nail it because
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I definitely think you do a good job with that, especially like trying to stand out on your own. It's just like your channel feels like more like, hey, we're just gonna talk the shit, so just come on by and watch us.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I hope you continue growing that more on. So, do you think like even if you don't talk about you don't talk about gaming, you think you'll still like you still feel able to find topics to talk about? I guess like because like I don't know.
Honestly, if I were to talk about some of the things I would like to talk about, it would honestly be film that would take place between the 50s and the 80s. And I don't think that there is a big audience for that personally,
Oh yeah,
as much as
that
I would like to think otherwise.
that would probably be a very
And
niche audience.
it would, and I like to, and honestly, a big reason why I didn't want to go down that path is because, well, YouTube will destroy you. Like, ideally, and what one of the things that you do get from my Halloween retrospective that I did back in the day was I would like to discuss film scene by scene, some of it, especially if it's a scene that I think is genius in the way it's developed and its psychology. Uh, just the intro scene of the original Halloween, I think, is awesome. An awesome discussion. That's what a scene I did feature in that retrospective. And YouTube, if you don't break up a a film into like 5 second it clips into like 5 second intervals, like you're gonna get flagged and you're gonna get taken down. It's like I want to have like these in-depth discussions going frame by frame. That's not a thing you could do on YouTube. So unfortunately, we can't have those
I think you
discussions.
could do it, but it had to be in a very specific way where it would be really entertaining for people. But
Yeah, and that's like even if there's an audience for that, YouTube will not allow it in a way that I feel passionate about discussing it. So unfortunately, that's just not
it
a
would have to be
realistic
very cookie
expectation.
cutter, to be honest, because that's the way kind of YouTube likes things, cookie cutter formats, or everything's kind of like the same stylistically.
Yeah, and that's just not something that is a realistic thing that I can do in a way that I like it, in a way that would express what I'm trying to explain. So we can't have nice things when it comes to that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think it would work out, sadly.
Well, I mean, if you ever do feel like you need to pivot eventually, good luck with that.
Damn, thank you, sir. Oh, man.
Vaya con Dios.
Yep.
I guess with that, I actually want to know how do you feel like running your podcast for 2 years now? How does like do you have anything to say?
No,
about
it's been a little over a year because when I started doing YouTube, I didn't really live stream very much for a while.
Yeah, I noticed that because I think I said like you started back in like what, August, when you looked through the history.
September of 2021.
Ah,
That's when I started.
oh wow.
Yeah, for a while it's just me just uploading videos, and I just kind of ran the idea of doing a podcast to my buddies, and they were just like, "Yeah, that would be awesome to do. We could do it."
Because I see you're on your 34th episode, and that's pretty impressive. All things
Appreciate
considering.
that, yeah.
But,
And for me, I do the podcast every other week because I don't want it to feel like a job. It's me and my friends, and it's not a job to us. It's just a for fun thing that we do, and to do that weekly, I feel like it would take the fun out of it. So I made it bi-weekly, and we've held to it. The only time that I have missed was when I had a family situation. And I will this week, since Thursday is our podcast date and Thursday's Thanksgiving, we won't have a podcast this week. But obviously, when I do commit to doing something, I do it unless something does come up, obviously. But we've consistently been running a podcast for a little over a year now, bi-weekly, and it's been awesome.
No burnout from doing that for this
No,
one?
because the way I thought about it, bi-weekly was what would work, and that's what's been working. So
You see,
have
because
that
I feel
often.
like a lot of podcasts run into that burnout period where like they'll take a break for like a week or two, maybe 3, and then come back to it. But
Yeah, but we have that break every other week. So
yeah,
that's
that's
I think
actually
makes it
pretty
work.
genius because you see all
Yeah.
these people in all their podcasts, like they're doing it every single week, so it's like everyone's covering the same single topics every time.
Yep. And I do go live every week when it comes to my channel.
Yeah,
But
just
one
with your
week it's the Too Real for Feels podcast, and then the other week is just my solo stream where we talk about all sorts of stuff.
You know what? I got to keep that in mind because I'm actually going to be launching a new project soon. Hopefully,
Nice.
yeah. I'll get into that more later on at the end of the podcast. But yeah, so overall, I guess you say that you've been enjoying doing your show then.
Of course. That's what makes it fun. Just the fact that it's me, my friends, and we have our guests, and we just talk about, like, we try to keep it as close to how our normal conversations used to be, man.
Fair enough. Well, I guess leading into my next question would be: do you have any future plans with like the content that you do, like either with your videos or like your show in general? Like, do you have any like plans like for like changes that you might do or like anything like that?
Everything I do is pretty much spontaneous. And when I do make a commitment, I commit. But for me, I don't know. I don't know what videos I'm gonna make this week. Like, to me, it's just I just do this because I'm driven for whatever I talk about. So I don't I don't have like major plans in terms of like what I'm gonna do. Like, me, it's just a spontaneous thing.
Fair
So
enough. Just go with the flow.
exactly, because to me it's a hobby. It's a hobby, and I do what I'm driven to do, and sometimes that means maybe I'll have one video this week, or next week it'll be 5 videos. It's just there's no there's no like there's no like way of me doing this in a way that is other than it's my spontaneous way of just going about talking about what I want to talk about.
I don't know. The only reason I asked that question is because like I know some people like, for example, BitCloud. You're friends with
Mhm.
him. So
Yep.
I know he has like big visions for his channel. He tries to grow his brand out. He tries to go out there and like do these kind of things so he can get like guests on, right? So
Yep.
it's out, and for that, I think it's impressive. Like when some people are visionary, where they can plan stuff out for the channel, like have like a certain growth like period, like where they want to grow by this point, have like certain
Mhm.
subscriber numbers by like a certain date. So because everyone's different, not everyone has a goal, of course, but some people do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have like any serious goals. It's just nice to see that there is an audience for what I do, because it's personal to me. The fact that I can share with people that genuinely just want to be there, that's awesome. And I always express to people that pull up to my live streams, to people that watch my videos, that you are appreciated, because you don't have to be here. I don't feel like I deserve this. Like, it's just I just talk about what I want, and you guys talk about what you want. We have the discussions together, and it makes it fun. Like, I res- like, it's just a equivalent exchange of respect. I respect the people that come hang out with me, and they respect that I talk about what I want to talk about, and I keep it. I just stay true to me,
Keep it
and to
100.
have that and to have that exchange and it be genuine. it's awesome. So I'm just overall grateful. I don't have like these crazy like goals. There's nothing genius behind what I do. It's as simple as possible. Like it really is, and it just works, man. There's nothing. Like I said, I'm not a mastermind. A lot of what I do is really just some things flop and some things work, and I just do what I do, and it somehow has worked out. And overall, I'm just grateful for it.
Fair enough. Well, more power to you. And if people keep enjoying that, hopefully they'll keep coming by and keep watching.
Hell yeah.
I guess with that, I like to always throw this question out there because, for us, it's always kind of hard for us to like figure out like how we do things on YouTube, like discovering like what we want to do or like figure out like how to make videos like or how to like entertain people. So I guess like in some regards, some people when people want to start up their own YouTube channel when they get inspired by people like us, would you have any advice to share for anyone that wants to do like stuff like you do, like running a podcast or uploading content?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever thought about it, you have serious interest, you feel like you have something to offer to the space that isn't there, do it. Just do it. I started off using a mid-level cell phone to make my videos and do my editing. And somehow I'm here. All right, there's no bigger loser here that somehow made it work than me. So if I could do it, you could do it. Just honestly, just be genuine and just if you commit, go all the way with it. Like just do it and be genuine and do things how you want to do things. And if you see like, man, I can't, like, just give it a try. And you're like, if you visualize, I could actually make this work, then just commit and keep going. And over time, you get new things. Like over time, things grow. Like I didn't start off with with a webcam, with a mic, with a good mic. Like you just over time, you just get new things and you just build up. You don't have to start off with the best stuff there is. Like, and you don't even know what the best stuff there is when you start up. But over time, you learn new things. You get new things. You don't start off at
You just don't start
at
off
the
at
top.
100 and yeah.
Yeah, you don't start off at the top, and that's normal. So don't be discouraged or disincentivized. Just commit and keep going, and just see where it is, and you'll find the fun in it.
All right, I like that advice. But with that, I guess that wraps up all the questions I had for the day, and let's get you doing your outros. And for those you who are new to Cassie here, I have put links to all her stuff in the description below, so go and find her there. And
Thank you, appreciate you.
So do your outro.
Yeah, so I'm Cult Classic Kid of the Cult Classic Kid Show, and if at any point you want to check out what I got going on, you can check out my YouTube channel. I haven't been streaming on Kick lately, but I will get back to that shortly. If you want to talk to me personally, you could always hit me up on Twitter. I'm that type of person. I ain't better than anyone else, so if you wanted to have a discussion with me, you're more than welcome to. And if you want to see funny cat videos or animal videos, you can check out my TikTok. But yeah, man, thank you so much for having me. And it was fun. It's a fun talk. Appreciate it.
Of course. I always try giving my guests this kind of experience, just having a little friendly banter back and forth. I always try to make it just chill. But with that, as I mentioned earlier before, that I do have big plans. I will be doing a live stream, hopefully today, or if not a live stream, uploading a video talking about it. But I have plans to upload a new podcast soon. And,
nice.
Yep. And this one is going to be strictly non-gaming related. It's going to be just it's going to be covering any trending topics out there. So yeah, stay more tuned in for that, because I do have some more information I want to divulge to my audience. But with that, I also have a Patreon for you guys. So go and support me. It's only $3, so it will help me out make videos too. So I will be making a poll for which games you guys would want me to play and complete, and yeah, donate, pick, and hopefully I can get some people helping me make some videos. So yeah, with that, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast episode. Tune in for next week's episode where I will be having Supernova as a guest, and yeah,
Ooh, nice.
and I will be back on a regular Saturday schedule. So I know this one was a bit off, so forgive me for that. Anyone who usually watches my Gamer Couch podcast. So yeah, but see you guys next time, and peace.